everybody.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm doing some experimentation with my audio today, and my console over here is not working, but let's do something else because it's different. Just to be different, I thought, look, we've got a drummer in our audio, in our production team here. So, John, just tell people, what do you normally do when you're not playing with drones?
Well, actually, yeah, I do a bit of that. I spend my time on the drum kit. You know, it's not a bad place to be. A bit hard at the moment, though. We're all locked down, so there's, you know, the only drumming that gets done is on the kitchen table with the knives and forks. So, but yeah, playing the drums is better. You know, there's worse things you could do, I think.
Yeah, so that's actually how I met John many, many years ago in the musical drumming kind of part of the world. And I just want to share a quick favourite memory. One time, I know, John, there was an article in the newspaper after this concert, and it was called John Plays the House, and he was literally drumming on the walls of the Opera House, and then he came up to an usher's head, and he's going as if he's about to go and scon him one. So anyway, there's a little bit of a memory from the past. But welcome to OzByDrone. I'm Greg.
I'm John. Hi, everybody. Great to be with you again.
And we're going to have a lot of fun today. Before we get into the show, just a quick announcement. Our guest that we were going to have today, Coldflake, sent me a message this morning and said, look, for personal reasons, he can't be here, unfortunately. So there's nothing we can do about that. But what we are going to do instead, Coldflake was going to talk to us about the amplifier board. And I've already had a briefing session with him. We're going to go into more detail. I did speak about it on Ken's show yesterday. We're going to deep dive into that. And even more than that, we're going to give away one of these things today. These amplifier boards, they're worth $200 US.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's a pretty good one. So please be watching. And here's what you need to do. You need to go and send a message to someone that you know in the drone world that's not watching today and tell them to come watch. And when they come in, so if, for example, if Trevor does it right now and he sends it to Aunt Marv will say, Trevor sent me. I want to see that in the chat today. Go and build up our chat a little bit. We want to give this thing away today. So that's getting started. But before we do anything else, it's time for the news. Now, I'm totally disorganized today, so here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Yay. Yes.
That was the wrong one. Let's try that again.
Oh, I thought it was right.
OzByDrone news is brought to you by AirData UAV. Is your drone healthy, or is it about to surprise you on your next flight? Don't wait to find out. Discover under the hood information and review the early signs of problems before you take off again. Use the discount code OzByDrone20 for a 20% discount. There is a link in the description. Okay, let's kill that. So our first story today is this one. The audio didn't work so well for that. But anyway, lots of experimentation today. Google Wings. Australians will be familiar with Open Sky from the Google Wing team. Well, our USA brethren have caught up, and Uncle Sam has jumped on board with Open Sky, now working in the land of the free using FAA flight zone data. Let's have a look.
Just loading the car to do an equipment check before we head off, and we're heading to an area that I'll often shoot cars at, and double checking that we're all okay to fly there in the app, and yep, we're all okay to fly there. So we're just meeting up with the client now, they're in front of us, and we're going to find a nice spot along this road and we'll start shooting. I'm just doing one last check of the Open Sky app to make sure that we're all safe and good to fly here. It's always important to follow the local laws and regulations for drones. Today we're flying under the sub 2 kilo commercial excluded rule for drones. And the app says that we're good to go.
Okay, so while the video's been playing, I've fixed up the couple of audio issues I've got. But John, what are your thoughts on this one? The USA brethren are catching up to us?
Well, I don't know there. I would have thought in some ways they were ahead with the LANC system, you know. So not really sure how that's going to play out there. But I mean, look, obviously nowadays, when you're looking at databases for no-fly zones and all of those kind of authorizations, there's a global download where you can, of course, operate in, work it out in any country. I don't think it's developed for all countries yet, of course, but certainly where the FAA would publish, if an American pilot was going to fly here, they'd need to have access to that airspace and those rules. So, I think it's a great idea. It means that when you travel, of course, and you're going to go overseas, that you're using something that's familiar. I think that's a plus for operators to not have to learn a whole new system of approval. So, there you go. Good thing. Google's really punching into the drone world, aren't they?
The one thing that I didn't find out from the article itself was that, are they using the same APIs? Did the people in America copy the APIs that CASA's doing, or was it the other way around? And I just saw something in the background, a quick interruption. Metro Drones, happy Friday, droners. Thanks for that, Metro. Appreciate it. And again, just a reminder, go and let your friends know, tune in. We're going to give away a $200 amplifier board very shortly. But back to Google for a minute. So the question is it our APIs or theirs, or are they doing two different ones? And is that going to complicate the market for app developers in the future to try and work with every country? I do hope they work on a unified set of protocols.
That comes through JARIS and the International Civil Aviation Organization. So JARIS is I'll remember, the Joint Authority for Rulemaking's UAS. So there's inside the International Civilization Organization, this little committee called JARIS reaches out to all the countries and says, look, this is what we need to do to do this properly worldwide. Now, when CASA had invited third parties to use an approved database for airspace and registered airspace, you've got to meet a certain amount of protocols to do that. But, of course, once it was registered and approved, it means other countries or other developers can log in and use that. They've got to put a disclaimer at the beginning. But, you could develop your own airspace app and then log in and use that data, that approved data, click the disclaimer at the beginning, and you've got it for another country. So, they're trying not to double up, I mean, obviously, if you wanted to have your app go throughout the world, you wanted to go to Switzerland and use the same app, rather than having, again, to learn a new system, you just click on your regular app, it goes to the Swiss database, brings up, yes, you can or can't fly there, and you're in a familiar space, you're using familiar software. And, of course, that helps the drone manufacturers, whether you like it or not, for them to use a global airspace within their system. So, of course, DJI, wherever you log in a country, it automatically downloads the fly-safe databases for that country, and then either restricts you from operating around airports or gives you a license to operate. So, it's kind of clever, and I think we'll see more of it.
And just reading from the article itself here, it says, after raising positive feedback from drone flyers in Australia, as well as from Australia's Civil Aviation Safety Authority, Wing began discussions with the FAA about bringing OpenSky to the US. FAA has approved OpenSky as a LANC supplier, allowing the app to function as a real-time authorization tool for drone flyers, etc., etc.
Yep,
The question is, did CASA use the existing LANC APIs, or did they invent their own? I hope they did.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. I'd have to have a look to see whether the API, the similarity there again. But remember, these databases, these global databases, are going to look pretty similar after a while. So, once you log on, you're going to be reading the same data, maybe a different GUI. I'm not sure. I said I'll have a look at it anyway and see what it comes up with. Sometimes you can't log into those and have a look when you're not in the country, and that makes sense as well. So maybe our sort of team in the US can have a look at this, have a look at the OpenSky app, Hopefully it's a free app again, and then you can be able to have a look and see how it works in the States.
Okay. While we're here, a quick interruption from Wayne King. Thanks, Wayne, for the $10 super chat. And he says, hi, Greg and John. Trevor sent me. Just a reminder to everyone, you've got to go and get a friend to come and watch us today so that you can win a prize worth about $200. We want to get a bigger audience than normal today and give this thing away. So that means Trevor is in the competition. That means I saw someone else, Mike B, sent me. So Mike B is in the competition. Everyone else, you've got to go and get a mate to come and watch today and watch today. And we'll hopefully get enough people in the competition. Before we do anything else, though, I just want to briefly bring on our guest co-host today because Lloyd's away today and we needed someone to fill in. And let me just find, here we go.
There he is.
Yeah! Woo-hoo!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Mr. Art Carlson, the man of 1,000 jokes. Most of them, they're all good. Come on, we love you, Art.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Greg, did you finally ship your pants?
I did buy my most recent pair of jeans online, and they were shipped to me. So there was some pants shipping involved. Yes.
Okay. Well, I bet John probably ships his pants when he plays the drums.
Yeah, that's happened before. I got to say, Greg, it feels comforting to, when Lloyd can't make it, we know how we miss Grumpy, to just replace one lunatic with another. I mean, it makes perfect sense.
Absolutely. So let's move on from that. We'll get into our second drone story, but I will ask Art if you could keep a track of people who sent someone else.
Okay.
If that makes sense. In the chat, so we've currently got, who was it? Mike B. And we've also got Trevor, who sent Wayne and someone else, and just keep a list of the other people who got sent, if that makes sense. Okay.
Sounds good.
It's all complicated, but we're going to have fun at the end of the day. Let's get into our second story now, and if I can press the right button to get away from that, which would be this one. Okay, the second story is about 4G. Anafi AI is the first drone to use 4G as the main data link between the drone and the operator, which is a game changer for the drone industry. Users will no longer experience transmission limitations thanks to Anafi AI's 4G connectivity, which enables precise control at any distance. Had you heard about this one yet, John?
I did. I just caught this later in the week. And I noticed that they were doing a 4G stretch. I mean, I think we're going to see more of this too. I noticed as well XAG drones now have a 4G modem inside the aircraft itself for doing RTK work, which is really interesting. So, the miniaturization of our 4G modems and possibly 5G, of course, even better, will mean that this sort of future link will be really handy. And, of course, what I like about it too that makes sense is once you're working at altitude, you're much more likely to have good 4G connectivity, even if your ground telemetry is not going well. I think we're going to see first, with more consumer drones, 4G being some kind of backup. So you've got the modem in the aircraft, you've got a little SIM in the aircraft, and all of a sudden your link becomes suspect, and so you're able to have this, if you like, bidirectional switching, where the 4G fills in the gaps. When you're in line with the aircraft and you've got good radio, the C2 link comes directly from your OcuSync or whatever you're using. But of course, 4G is there as a backup. Don't know if it's going to be the primary, if sense of how that would work. And I'm not sure how even Parrot have done that. It says 4G. Is it looking at the controller and the way it plugs into the phone? I'm suggesting that perhaps 4G is the only connectivity to the aircraft. So more research on that one. I'll have a look at it.
Yeah. Look, here's an interesting question, and we're going to come back to this since we're talking about the RF amplifier today. You were asking a question, I think, recently about 2.4, 5.8 antennas in a Phantom 4 Pro.
Yep. Yep. So that's most of the DJI stuff now with OcuSync, of course, is a dual switching. So the way that they've made a robust connection with OcuSync is that they're using both streams simultaneously, with fast switching between the two. And of course, by doing that, you're able to, create this much more solid link. So there's scope to do that sort of technology with 4G as well, and even perhaps other bands. I mean, one of the things that's coming up, and I had a discussion with someone last night about, is Starlink. What sort of future are we going to look at when the Starlink system is fully launched, and you've got basically the entire Earth carpeted with all of these miniature satellites with communications protocol? You're going to have a whole new way of backup. You might have an aircraft that use cellular, OcuSync, 2.45G, 4G, and Starlink. Why not? Like, we have multiple GPS platforms, use GLONASS, GPS, BOU, all of the other, we're able to combine those. So who knows? I mean, I think it's, this is where it's going to head for sure. And 5G's got some great potential for drones, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. So, just on that topic, though, the interesting thing, I was talking to Coldflake about the 2.4, 5.8 and 2 antennas, and I had a look at the board, and it's only got one socket antenna out and RF in from the board. And I said, well, what's the go with that? Here's the question for you. Are the antennas actually one for 2.4 and one for 5.8, or are they both dual frequency?
Yeah, look, I'd have to check that. I'm thinking.
I'll tell you what he said, though. I'll tell you what he said. They are both dual frequency. One is for video, one is for command and control. But the interesting thing is, the command and control will automatically fail over to the video link as a sub-signal within the video link if the standard command and control link is unavailable for any reason. So
we're talking DJI only?
We're talking DJI specifically at this point, yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I understand that. Yeah, that would be something too. So interesting to see how that plays out. One of the things I know about these boards that we're going to talk about is they are mentioned as being specific for DJI, but they will connect another socket for you, so you could use another aircraft. They're basically boosters. So, if you put a booster amplifier between whatever you've got on your transmitter and an aerial, it will do the job. It'll pump the signal. One of the things that you need to obviously know about the dual aerial 2 thing is that the controller is a bidirectional signal. So there's information. It's also a receiver. The controller you're holding is not just a transmitter. It's actually a transmitter and receiver. Of course, it's receiving video. It's a no-brainer. You can see what it is receiving. And if you think about it, there's a lot more data coming back to the controller than there is going out. The command and control that you're sending is very, very minimal in terms of the data stream, and so it's really an upload. You're uploading data from the drone to your controller, displaying it on your phone. So, this was a common thing that goes right back, Greg, you'll know, from the beginnings of the internet, where they said, well, let's make download speeds the priority and uploads just a little thing, because you're going to be downloading videos and you might only be sending a text message, But of course, we learned pretty soon that shows like this, we're uploading to the internet, and you need that higher bandwidth and upload. So, interesting to see that. But again, to state it, drones are often sending from the controller very little data and receiving it, so that you're holding a receiver more than a transmitter there, I suppose, and that's the way it is.
But speaking of boosters, I mean, the man with 1 million booster seats, he needs them because he's vertically... Sorry, I couldn't resist. Was he frozen there as well?
No, he's not frozen. He's just shocked.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's move on. Our next story now. Let me press a button or two so I can see what it is. Water sampling. Now, this is an interesting topic, John, because I know that some of the Morrison aerial robotics people have done some research on water sampling, how to go and do that properly. But let's read here. Water sampling and analysis methods take time, and cost money. After 2 years of research and development, a company called Rainmaker has launched a drone-based water sampling and data collection system designed to increase sampling rates and accuracy while reducing reliance on field personnel and equipment such as boats and boots. Really simple design, and it looks like it may be a 3D printed piece of kit, but a good one to attach to your drone.
Look, water sampling is a great thing to do, and I know even a lot of people who have farms and have dams and so forth that even fly recreationally love to be able to go down and take a water sample. You can do it at depth. My good friend Paul Cooper, who works with me at MAR, has 3D printed a number of great devices for water sampling, so we've used them. But a little tip, if you'd like to try it, you don't have to do it over water to start with. attach the apparatus, and then you practice it over land, getting down low, dropping it on the ground, getting away again. Just make sure you got your distances right. And then, good idea to practice at the pool. So if you go and you're standing by the pool, you're right next to the aircraft, before you go and do stuff where you're actually using, perhaps looking down at the screen to get your altitude right to pick up the water. So a little bit of practice will save you getting wet at your aircraft, and you getting wet because you have to go wet to go and retrieve it. A little practice on ground, and you'll find it's a fairly straightforward thing to do. And have a container, so we've set up, so if we've got to take 5 or 6 samples, we've got little bottle containers, and so we collect a sample, right, perhaps where it came from and so forth. If you want to do that, keep records of it. But it's a handy way to do it. And even if you've got a friend that might need something like that in terms of a sample, get out there and practice it. Practice it in the bush or in the pool first, and then go and try it. And the only other trap, really, if you're going into areas you don't know, is if you get snagged on a log. So you drop your water container down, there's a tree submerged under there, and, of course, the line gets entangled. So this is a problem. So another thing to do with your water sampler is consider having a bait dropper attach it. So have your normal bait dropper with a release, connect your water sampler to that. And then, of course, if you ever do get tangled or you perhaps a wind gust comes along, you're carrying a sling load, you need to detach the water sampler. You've got the bait dropper, just click it, release it, and save the aircraft. So there's a couple of tips. We've done a lot of water sampling, and that'll save you most times being able to drop the load when you need to.
Yeah, good advice with that. A couple of quick comments from some of our viewers. D&D Aerial View says, great for delivering a beer too. Yep. Absolutely. And looking at that one that we saw there, it looked like beer can shaped, so that was cool. We had something from Wayne sending to Art an Australian joke. What do you get if you cross a sheep with a kangaroo?
Woolly jumper.
And a woolly jumper, yeah, except that Art said no, a shangaroo. Art.
That's good. I haven't heard that one.
Okay, let's move on. We've got one more story before we get to the middle of the show, which is when we traditionally have our guest. But as I said, our guest is not available today, so we're going to substitute for him and talk about these boards, and we're going to give one away today. So next story is this one. UAS and counter-UAS research being conducted in the remote Nevada desert inside highly secured airspace. This particular site is the most capable and secure testing facility for UAS and counter-UAS platforms, largely through it being so isolated. If you want to test new drone tech or anti-drone tech, this is the place to go.
Port Gaston is about an hour and a half from Las Vegas. It's about 30 minutes from Mercury. Our program vision provides a national security counter-UAS and UAS testbed with a realistic, agile outdoor testbed for the NNSS.
I think we protect the nation by providing this venue for people to game against UASs.
With the UAS, the reason that's getting so much attention out here is because it's so important and it is changing the economy. And it's going to for a long time.
Compared to anywhere else in the United States, we provide a succinct venue. We control the airspace, we control the environment.
Got your turn, you're clear.
We're inside a restricted and controlled place to play.
We're far enough away for other neighbors and the freeway and communities so we can have a secure test. We own the airspace. We own it surface to infinity. However, we schedule 14,000 and below on a daily basis, which gives quite a lot of airspace for any of the customers to come in and use their assets to be flying.
The CEO of a company that's been doing some work out here and I were talking.
So, John, let's leave that in the background and we'll have a chat over the top. But I know we were talking a few weeks ago to Tim French and you were making a comment to him that he should go to an Australian test facility.
Yep.
It gives you a lot of opportunities and possibilities to go and do things, break things and be safe without having to do a lot of paperwork.
Yep, absolutely right. We have a test site in Australia in a place called Cloncurry. You need a Stone Garden water bag and a couple of picnic lunches to get there. So, Australia is very well suited to this type of test site. Now, in the 1950s, the Woomera rocket test site was established in the Simpson Desert in South Australia. And America came here, and the Europeans, and were testing all manner of rocket engines and launching rockets into the South Australian desert. So I can remember when I first started flying manned aircraft, this was a no-go zone. It was a large area of the Simpson Desert that you could not fly over when they were using the test site. So all of the air routes went around it. It was basically a perfect setup, and internationally it was very successful. So this is a similar test site we have in Cloncurry in central Queensland, Cloncurry, Cloncury, just like you say it. Check it out. So I know I've approached those people about some testing there. It's expensive if you want the full kit. So if you wanted to have hangar space where you could go up there, unload your stuff inside a hangar, you've got a big UAS, you've got, whatever you want to fly. For $10,000 a day, you get the runway, the airport, it's a big airport, you get all the airspace, and they do the CASA approval. So they've got a standard template for this test site, and you can basically go up there and fly anything. Now, what that allows a manufacturer to do is without having to have certified, going up and flying heavy UAS that would normally require certification, this site allows you to fly, pretty much test anything you like. It could be a rocket. It could be it could be an unmanned rocket, could be anything at all. They do the paperwork, they set you up, and off you go. And it's a fantastic thing. I was, years ago trying to promote this idea for BVLOS. And so now a lot of BVLOS certification and trials will be done at Cloncurry. So, you name it, all of your delivery services and everything, they go up there, they can practice, they can, it doesn't matter if the aircraft fails, you've got mechanisms to go and retrieve it. So, great idea. I think there should be more of them. I think we should have a couple around Australia. I'd love to see one in every state. But so Queensland's the place to go for us at the moment. As I said, cost a bit of coin, but many companies are taking up the opportunity to do it.
Yeah. And I guess the difference between the two sites, the one in Australia, happy days, the one in America, they'll be testing kind of counter UAS, I guess,
Yep, sure. Okay. I don't think you can test weapons on the Cloncurry site. At this stage, it's purely a flight test site. It's our own Edwards Air Force Base, if you like, in the middle of the desert, and sits there perfectly. I haven't seen a lot of NOTAMs around it yet, but I believe once you start flying there, if you're flying, and I think that our airspace, I think in the States they set up to 14,000 feet. We're going higher. You can have up to I think it's 245. 25,000 feet.
So just to correct you, the Americans actually said you can go to infinity, but they regularly schedule up to 14,000.
Okay, that would be the same here. So some of the satellite, low terrestrial, based drones that are doing high altitude stuff up to 60,000 feet, they were flying off Wyndham, over the Indian Ocean. And there's a company up there doing some high-level stuff. They lost an aircraft, I think, too, but that's what the test site's for. This thing would take 8 hours to climb up, had solar-powered wings. Some of you might be familiar with that program. But we're talking about drones here that are up there getting weather data, communications, and stuff. Rather than using a satellite, you've got a fixed wing drone, low solar powered wings, and so forth, and flying around in the stratosphere, pretty much. So exciting stuff.
Okay, sounds like fun. Now at this time, we're going to get ready to be a guest of ourselves. Instead of us interviewing someone else, maybe you can interview me.
I will interview you
about what's in this bag.
Yes, our prize.
It's our prize today. We're going to give one of these away, and here's the first one. So this is a slide of almost everything that's in the bag. There's an additional component that's in version 2, which is a relay, and we'll talk about that in a minute.
Yep.
Then let's have a look at the other bits we've got. The next one, this is a voltage regulator. This one's designed to be inside the aircraft. You take your power rail from the aircraft and it's going to clean it up to this RF board. Mm-hmm. Then the next one, this is the actual amplifier board itself. And then this one is the voltage regulator for the remote control. And we've got a power switch to turn the thing on and off inside your remote control.
Yep.
And lastly, we've got the antenna connectors, which will go directly onto the DJI device without you having to worry about that too much. Okay, let's get back to the studio. So, John, you're the interviewer. I'm your interviewee. Go for it.
So I noticed, Greg, that they're advertising here that it's good for DJI aircraft. It will handle others. That would be a very tight fit in a Mavic, even any type of circuit board there. And a lot of people will be driving Mavic 2s. I believe there's a video for installing that, but not one for the Phantom yet. Now, you're going to install it in the Phantom. How are you going to proceed to tear down your beloved Phantom 4 into pieces and build this in there? Tell me about
that. Just briefly, can our viewers confirm, did we drop out for a moment there? I saw some red lights on the screen. If people could confirm in chat if we had a dropout or not. No,
I think
we're good.
I think the dropout's in the background.
You look good.
The dropout is Art over there.
Yeah, our dropout's still there. I think there he is.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll make my producer feel a little bit better. Just for the benefit of our viewers watching, we actually have a dual signal. We're sending a primary and a backup signal to YouTube. So if one of them dies, we've got a second one and it'll fail over. So
that's quite topical for this conversation.
It is. Okay, so fitting it inside, I've seen a video on the NoLimitDrones website, and that video shows installation inside a Mavic 2 Pro and a Zoom. So they've done it inside that aircraft.
Yep.
The other Mavics, I don't know so much. The one thing that I was chatting to Coldflake about last night is heat dissipation.
Yep.
Now, let me get one of these little boards.
This is my first question to you. You remember when you told me about it. How are you going to dissipate the heat from a boosting amplifier? It'll be a big generator of heat. There's no doubt about that. And let's face it, the inside of the aircraft get pretty hot already. Even if you sit it on the bench and don't fly it, leave it on for a while, go and feel, take the battery out and feel inside the aircraft. You'll feel there's quite a bit of heat just from the electronics sitting there. You've got a fan on board the aircraft. I was thinking, Greg, after we had that conversation, there may be an easy way off the power roll to fit an additional fan. So I'm talking about a CPU fan, something that you would basically attach with thermal paste to your CPU. You could put a very small fan next to this unit with next to no current draw, very, very minimal power draw. And I think it'd be safer because the cooler it is, the better it will operate as well, as most electronics like to have stabilized temperature. So there's a mod that we might even talk about when we install it in your aircraft, is having a little CPU fan or another type of heat sink that might be available for that kind of circuit.
Yeah. So let's talk about this a little bit more. So the backside of the board is designed to be kind of like a built-in heat sink in itself.
Yep.
So whatever you stick it to, mount it to, etc., it's going to help dissipate the heat through the backside of the board.
Yeah, the Phantom's well ventilated too. So,
which is where I was going to go. So inside the Mavic 2, they actually mounted it on top of, and this was a confusing thing to me, what looked like the air inlet for a fan, an existing fan that was going and doing something else, but still leaving enough room for the airflow to get through. That is what the person who made that video did. That was the manufacturer out of China. They did that for their initial testing. And while it works, a few people have said, well, I'd rather not do it that way. And over time, I'm led to believe there's going to be more videos of different ways that people are doing that. There's no one set of instructions that will guarantee to work with everything. Over time, people will pick their own way of doing it.
Yep, absolutely.
But the comment was from the manufacturer of the board that they believe aircraft side, just because of the airflow with the aircraft moving through the air, that there's going to be enough airflow in a Phantom, for example.
Yeah, I think the Phantom's much less of a problem than the Mavic in terms of being able to ventilate it properly. You've got plenty of openness in the shell. There's a bit of airflow in the shell as well, and you also got places you can put it where it's out of the way of the other electronics. I had a look at an install for a TO drone GPS unit the other day. Now, this is a very big mod, basically stripping down your Phantom all the way to put an L1 capable GPS so that you, rather than buy a Phantom 4 RTK. So the M-lid circuit board and the TO board, two little circuit boards, and they're quite a bit bigger. But to put those in, you take the shell apart. You've got to unsolder one side of the ESC from the board.
What was that word?
Solder. What do you got? You guys
it's got an
solder.
L in it.
Yeah, solder.
Yeah, no, we say solder.
Solder, yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
you can sod off. But anyway, back to the story.
What happened with the R's? You guys keep dropping R's.
Yeah,
sounds like an H.
You get rid of all the you get rid of unnecessary remotes. Absolutely. I mean, they're unnecessary. And so you just get rid of those unnecessary letters.
Yeah, that's why we speak English.
Yeah, all right. You speak English.
Proper English. People can understand us.
Look, all I can say is you're always talking out of the wrong end. Oh, there we go.
Boom. Boom.
At least I don't shit my pants like you do.
So you got to solder the unsolder the ESCs from the board and peel open the actual shell, and then what you do is you use your soldering iron to actually burn away some retaining strips inside the shell. So you can make yourself a nice little cozy cabin there inside the Phantom shells. If you ever opened up the Phantom, we had a look at a shell, you'll see that there's a couple of extra 3D printed, if you like, sections that you can take out, make yourself some room in there to put other circuit boards in there. So the other thing is you've got to be confident here to tear down your aircraft, and so watch the videos very carefully and do it in exactly the right order. Have the tools set up. I mean, I know I'm preaching to the choir here. Many people that build and tear down their aircraft have the right hex drivers all ready to go and little containers for the screws. Don't muck up the screws. Sometimes they look the same. Sometimes, you need to work carefully with the labels, and you can tear it down and put it back together pretty successfully. The other thing too, and I say this early up before we start talking about the boards themselves, have a little practice at the ribbon cables and the way they're attached. Be very, very careful when a ribbon cable comes onto the circuit board, and you've got a little snap adapter that comes down, right? Use your static device so your body's not charged up, and use a fingernail to very gently lift so you can exactly feel the amount of pressure that you're using on the clip lift, and then use plastic tweezers to carefully grab the entire ribbon cable and take it out very carefully. Sometimes it's a bit sticky. You don't want to damage the ribbon cable.
That's what she said.
Yeah, that's right. You can very carefully very easily damage that side of thing, and there's lots of ribbon cables connecting these boards. And also be familiar with the clips. I know this is hopefully going to save you grief here, but whenever you see a plug with wires that's inserted, be careful about the clip that's actually retaining it. Obviously, in these sort of electronics where there's a lot of G-forces and so forth, clips are used, and you need to have a little practice. Take your time. Once you've done it once, you'll be it's easy the second time. I think I can say that without any problem at all. Once you've taken it down and put it back together, you'll be able to handle these tasks much easier. And as I said, go slow.
Okay, quick little interruption from Alexis. Found my channel from being on Ken Heron's live stream. Greetings and hugs from Corpus Christi. And speaking of Ken Heron, he said he was going to double the super chat from Alexis. So if anyone wants to keep that up, I'm very happy. That sounds good.
Okay. No way to fold them.
So what else have we got, John? What other questions have you got?
Look, because I've been answering them all, haven't I? Let's go to that teardown first. What things do you think or worries that you would have tearing down your beloved aircraft, Greg?
Specifically, the YouTube video that I'm copying has done it right in the first place, because I'm going to be looking at existing YouTube teardowns and finding out how do you pull apart a Phantom. Other than that, making sure you put it back in the right order, keeping your parts together, all of those kind of things.
Yep.
Making sure that any, as you quite rightly said, any plug connections are solid, so that, you know, after getting it back in the air, that it's going to withstand any G-forces and so on.
Yep, all of that too. So if you have questions, I mean, I agree 100%. Use the video, get a good video of how to do it, follow the video, do what the video says, press pause, get yours done and move on. And then remember, if you subscribe, if you like the, I know Pixhawk 360 is a great video channel for teardowns and devices. So you can ask a question. If you're using his video, put a post up and say, hey, listen, I got to this stage, I had this problem, and then you can engage with the person who made the video and get that kind of tech help. So, that don't be shy about doing that. And I think you're going the right way of having a good video to follow, and the put back together obviously is important as well. So you need to put it back together properly.
Just a quick thank you to Alexis, who saw Ken Heron's super chat, and she wants to double it.
There you go.
Oh, nice.
Oh, have we got a super chat train? No, I'm not going to copy Karen. No, that's fine. But let me do say, Mel has commented, Greg, watch out for the leftover screws. If you get leftover screws, you get extra points at the end. And yep. I can agree with that wholeheartedly, but as long as you don't have any leftover nuts.
Yep, that's right. Boom.
Okay, let's get back over here. Oh, Ken. Oh, my goodness. Ken has doubled Alexis's super chat. Thank you, guys. Now, just a reminder, we're giving away one of these boards, and in fact, it's a pack of boards. It's got 4 boards and a relay and a switch and a lot of wires. We're giving away one. It's worth $200 today. Again, just a reminder, the guy who is doing this is from NoLimitDrones, so thanks to Coldflake for that. He couldn't be here today to give it away in person. He had a family emergency that he had to attend to.
Yep.
Oh, okay, hang on. I've got to press the button again. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first ever OzByDrone Super Chat train. Alexis, $80. Oh my goodness.
Oh.
You know what?
Greg,
I think
you'll finally get a check from Google.
I think today, in this one show today, we've probably hit the amount of money that I've received since the beginning of the year doing this this stream. So it's been good.
It's about time. That's because you got a great funny man.
There you go.
See, it's all
Look,
me.
of course, we've got...
I come on, and all of a sudden, money is just coming in. Just shovel it in. Art Killer's there. It's got to be a great show.
Of course, we've got Art over here. And what jokes have you got, Art? Have you got one for us?
Yes, I do. An Aussie walks into a bar the other night wearing one thong, which is a flip-flop. One patron asks him, "What happened, mate? Did you lose a thong?" The guy replies, "Nah, mate, I found one."
There you go. Boom, boom.
Oh, that was a bad one. And
boom,
just briefly...
Oh, this show is being sponsored by Foster Beer.
No, it's not. We
The
don't
Queen
like
of
Fosters in
Beers.
Australia.
Here.
Okay. Thanks again, Ken, who says Alexis wins with a $2 super chat. I guess that's the end of the train. Okay.
I was going to pay some super chat money if you just stopped playing country and western music, but that's just me.
We got two types of music here.
Yeah,
okay.
country and western. So going back to our little topic there in terms of the teardown, Greg, let me ask you another question.
Sure.
So what are you going to install this for? What are you really hoping to achieve by boosting perhaps, I haven't even asked the power level yet, but you're going to be operating in a much higher power level with your aircraft. You got a need for it, or is it a tinker thing for you? Why are you doing it?
So let's talk about, interruption. Wayne King, $10 for art.
There you go.
Okay. Let's quickly talk about this. So the reason I've got this board here is the board's been sent to me by Coldflake for the purpose of helping to get the documentation together, because the existing documentation is a little bit lacking.
It's Russian,
isn't it? Yeah, well. As for why would you use it in a drone in general is to use a phrase that Ken would love to use, penetration.
Yep, absolutely. So you can go through buildings. You can go through. It's a safety device.
It's a safety device.
It's a safety device in terms of connecting with the aircraft. And look, I think there's a good case for that as well. Because depends on where you're flying. If you're flying around a lot of Wi-Fi signals and you do have trouble with buildings and interference, I can absolutely understand it. Some fly in very open areas and rural areas where you can fly out as far as the battery will allow you and fly back without much issue at all. So I think, if you've got a reason to do it, I think there's because you're going to tear down your aircraft and put this thing in. If you're a tinkerer like me, then you don't need a reason. You absolutely don't. If you want any reason to pull your aircraft apart, for me, is absolutely fine. But if you're not experienced doing it, I think you've got to think about what the pros and cons. What's the warranty issue, Greg? Do you know about how the warranty would work if you had DJI Care Refresh and you wanted to send your airplane back after an accident? Where would you stand with DJI? Nothing. Yeah.
No, not going to work. No warranty. If you do hardware mods to your aircraft beyond those which the manufacturer would expect, for example, changing props, and even changing props, if you've got something that provides no lift and it crashes, well, they're going to have a look at that as well from a warranty
Well, I'm going to give a little plug to Camzilla now, which is in Sydney here for those in Australia. And I had a controller fail. It got bricked during a firmware upgrade. There was nothing that could be done to fix it. Now, I'd installed remote antennas on this. It was one of our survey aircraft, so I had all sorts of gizmos in the transmitter. Camzilla just said, we're going to send this back to DJI, but I'm going to quickly tear it down and take out your mods. And they did. And they actually put on original aerials, and they put it was a fantastic service. They put the transmitter back to original, sent it off. DJI said, well, you need to replace this. And so we went through that motion as well. So a little plug for them. I mean, if you've got a good supplier, and they're not they're DJI approved repairer, but they knew that you need to take those out if you're going to return it to DJI. So there is that. If you have the unit fail, you can quickly take the modifications out, and then you better chance.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm actually thinking of going over to them and having a chat to them about where and how would they mount them in the aircraft and so on.
Absolutely. So, when you go to Camzilla, you can go have a look. The tech guys are there, very close to the front of house shop, and you can say, okay, let's have a look inside a Phantom shell. Where would I put it? And I can't speak highly enough about their service. So if you're lucky enough to be close to them and can go to the shop, Camzilla in the north of Sydney here, there are others as well, I'm sure, that would help provide service. But again, I'm lucky because I get all my equipment through them. They know me, and I walk in the door and, okay, what do you need today? That it's a fantastic store.
Yeah. So in the meantime, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. We're going to have a look at these photos again, and I'll see if I can get a couple of them up. We'll switch to the screen. So in terms of how you actually connect it up, let's keep it really simple. This is the one that sits in the bird. Yep. For the voltage regulator. So you've got voltage coming in, you've got it then being cleaned up, and out the other end pops the voltage, which goes onto this board. So you've got a voltage into that board, and you've got an antenna in and an antenna out. The existing connection that goes onto the main core board in the aircraft, that'll connect onto here, and the existing antenna wire will go on the other end. It's as easy as that.
Absolutely. Now, here's a tip. When you start, when you've torn down the aircraft, and during your rebuild, if you can very carefully have the airplane booted up and check that the equipment's working, that your switches are working, everything's on there before you put the camera back on, that's a great thing too. You know, you can make sure that you're actually transmitting a signal. I was thinking, Greg, we've got to get us hands on a way to read how much RF signal's coming out. There are obviously plenty of electronics will do this. I don't have one, actually, but I'm thinking of getting one so that we can basically A/B, turning it on, turning it off, just see how much signal is working, and it's sort of working properly. Of course, that's the other thing. You can test it's working.
Yeah, absolutely. Just seeing some errors again in terms of streaming. Again, we do have a primary and a backup stream. So I just wanted to confirm that everything is still good, and we're finding that it is. Okay, let's continue the story. So back to the photographs. So here's photo number that we were looking at just a minute ago. This is the main board itself. Then inside the remote control, you've got the same kind of configuration, voltage in and voltage out, clean voltage going to the board. It's the same board at both ends, so you get two of these boards. It's a bidirectional RF amplifier system.
Yep. And you can see it's got the mighting on there, 2.4, 5.8, mentioned on the circuit board. You can always have a look. I mean, always double check if I'm going to put some electronics in. Have a look. All the joints look like they're well made. Looks like a well made board, and also tin the actual connection. So use your best techniques. If you're good at doing this, about preparing areas to solder to and connect the wires to.
Oh, you said right.
There you go. Tin the wires. Put a little bit of flux and use a flux pen on the circuit board itself. Don't use any more heat than you absolutely have to. But again, no dry solder joints. Absolutely do the tug test. Make sure the joint looks good, and you won't have any problem. Using this stuff, if again, have a practice first. Take something apart and get the iron out and do a little bit of practice if you haven't done it for a while. Save you a bit of grief as well. And prep is another thing too. So I have a little stand with the magnifying glass, the light, the clips, and everything. So it actually holds the components carefully, so that I'm not trying to hold the iron, the solder, and the device as well. It's not sitting on the desk on its own, and use a static strip and all that kind of stuff. I mean, that's all in videos that you want to check out as well if you're not familiar with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's just quickly go back to over here, the switch. Why do you have a switch? Really simple one. On the bird, when you turn the battery off, it drops all power coming out of the battery. And if you're breaking into a power line, it's going to stop power going to the unit. But on the remote controller, not the same. The battery has a soft switch, if you like. And where you interrupt the power to go and get some power for this unit, you want to be able to turn it off so that once you've shut everything off at night, you don't want your batteries being drained. Really simple one.
Yeah, absolutely.
There is, in the newer packs that come out, an additional device, and it's hard to see here, but this is just a small relay. So what you can do with this one is you can have it go and switch. He said soft switch. Oh, my goodness. You can use this one. Hang on, my producer is telling me something.
You can see it. I can see it. About as big as your thumbnail.
Okay. She wants me to put something behind it so there's a background. There
you go. You
That's
can
as
see
good
that.
as we can get.
It's small.
Okay. It is small.
And look, the other thing, Mod, you can do, while we're talking about mods, the transmitter's got plenty of room in it to put this gear in. So when you open it up, the other thing that's a really easy mod, if you're comfortable, is to add a double throw, double pole switch for the power. Now, you've got a charging socket there. Imagine this, if you're running out of power and you want to put external power in, you need to have a switch so that you could then change over the charging jack to being a power jack, so that you could have an external battery as well. Now, you're going to add this switches. We're going to have a few switches there. You need to be careful where they're set and make sure you don't knock it, because guess what? If you knocked the double throw, double power switch while you didn't have your external power in and you were flying, it would cut the power to the transmitter. So, you can have a guarded switch if you like. That's what we use in aviation. If a guarded switch means that, there's actually a clip holding the switch into the internal power while you're having it. If you're familiar with this stuff, you'll know what I'm talking about. And perhaps your battery is lasting you long enough for the flying that you want to do. But we often run out of transmitter power on survey. We've got 10 batteries through the aircraft, and we get halfway through and the transmitter's looking a bit grim. So external power, I wish they'd had interchangeable batteries. For me, like the other Tyrannus radios and all the other radios that we have got a socket there. You can just pull a NiCad battery out or a lithium battery out, put another one in and keep going. But we don't have that, the option, unfortunately. I think the Enterprise Smart Controller for the the Matrice 300 has a removable battery, and I'm for good reason.
By the way, while we're on the topic of controllers, one relating to the Phantom 4 series, if you don't have the HDMI board, and sorry, Art, I didn't say HDMI, whatever, you're going to complain about that. Yeah, but if you don't have that board in, if you've got power coming from your mobile phone, it'll actually draw current from your mobile phone and keep it charged up. I've seen that as well.
It does. That's a little bit fluky in terms of the power rail and how that works. So if you've got a decent-sized iPad, not a mini but a bigger iPad, that won't happen. You won't get the battery charging the iPad. So it's all to do with which way, how much amperage there is, and the voltage across the bus, whether it's going to charge the phone or whether it's going to deplete from the phone. Of course, the smaller controllers, you have a switch, that you can say charge phone. In later models, and DJI Go 4 has that for some of the Mavic controllers, I think. I'm almost certain. But, of course, in the Phantom, it's quite a bit different. It's a bit more fluky in terms of which way the current goes, whether it'll charge the iPhone or not. Let us know about that one for sure.
Okay. So, look, we said we're giving this thing away. Now, before we do that, I want to quickly go back and I'm going to go back and have a look at our super chats that we've had. Actually, I need to log into something to do that. John, what have you got that you can tell us about, other than that, about what's happening in your world drone related for a couple of seconds?
While we're having a look, I noticed I don't know if it's a news story yet, we've seen DJI releasing the Mini SE. So copying a little bit of Apple terminology there, they're going to release a Mini for as a budget entry aircraft, not in the Europe or the United States. This is for developing countries where customers wouldn't have the same, being able to pay for the more expensive aircraft. So for about $200, I think, you can buy the Mini SE. Now, what it is a Mini 1 circuit board in a Mini 2 body. So that's pretty much the teardown of that one, the SE. So not sure whether they're going to limit features or how that's going to work in terms of looking after that market. But, interesting that we're sitting on also potentially the Mavic 3. There's been photos of that being released this week as well. So we've seen the shell for the Mavic 3. So there's always been this, for 2 years now, I've been talking about what the Mavic 3 is going to look like. So that's going to be interesting as well. So DJI covering their bases there, for the very low-cost drone, and also what's the 3 going to have. Here's a question while we're just talking about drones. Is the Mavic 3 going to have 4G like the new Parrot? this is one of the things that we just don't know yet. That would be really interesting. What is going to draw Mavic 2 operators that love the Pro, love the Hasselblad camera? They're going to shell out for a Mavic 3. They might have to buy new batteries. They've got to set up their kit again. Is 4G going to be more enticing than, say, some new camera? We know it's going to have 5K. We've seen 5K on some of the other, Evo stuff. So, yeah, and even 8K is a possibility. So the magic these days. So the camera's always been a reason to upgrade your aircraft. Flight time is another reason people like to, or range. All of those specs, it doesn't seem to matter how much higher it goes. Most people are happy with how high their aircraft can fly legally, so that's not an issue. I think the 4G would be an interesting one because the technology for 4G now is miniaturized. Could it be 5G? Could you have a 5G link in the Mavic 3? Who knows? That'd be an interesting scenario. So we'll see. Wait and see. But the Mini's out. The Mini SE is out.
I saw the pre-release, but I haven't seen the final release video clips and information about it yet before we started going live today. So we will have a look at that. But before we do anything else, I'm just going to go back over the last couple of super chats again. Ken Heron, the $40. Oh, hell, we doubled again. Trevor Fuss, the train is rolling. Alexis, oh, hell, here we go again, doubled again. $2 from Ken. Alexis wins. Wayne King, $10 for Art. And then we had Alexis, Ken Heron, we are all winners. But we're going to leave the music in the background for a little while because... No, there's a good reason.
Don't do it.
We want people to win.
Okay.
So here's what we're going to do. While this is happening, I'll encourage anyone to keep the super chat train rolling. But at the same time, we are going to ask you... pick a number. So on the screen very, very shortly, and I hope this works because it's been a long time since I've used it.
This is out of our list.
There it is.
There it is.
So this is what's going to happen. We're going to have a number come up on the screen. Don't worry about the number that's there now. It's totally random. But in a minute, you're going to pick a number, and the first person to type in the chat, and Art, you're going to be looking for me. First person to type in chat, whether it be before or after, it doesn't matter. The number that we see picked at random, that person's going to be an entrant into the competition.
I'm going 48.
Okay, here we go. You ready?
Spin it.
Here we go. One more try. Feel free to super chat your number to make it even more visible. We'd definitely love that. Okay, I can't see the number from here. What is it, John?
That's 65, mate.
65.
The first person to type in 65 is our first winner.
Ooh, I think
Okay, 400 AGL, you're in the competition. Now, we've got 2 people who are going to enter today. So we're going to clear that off. We're going to do the same thing again. 400 AGL is the first person. We want one other person, and feel free to super chat your number to make it stick out. I mean, it won't hurt.
This is exciting.
Yeah, let's have some fun today. Okay, the second one. Here we go.
All right,
type your number now. Start typing, guys. I'm waiting. You don't have to wait for the number to come up. You can type before. There's a subtle hint. There we go. Mr. Stay Drunk is typing. You just got to type a number from 1 to 100. Here we go.
I'm staying with 48. Oh, 24.
Okay, the number that we have up on the screen is 24. So the first person that types 24 in the chat, it can be before or after. 24. Was that Chris Hope? He super chatted. See, everyone, you'd need to super chat your number. Because if you super chat your number, you're going to win. That was a total fluke and a total coincidence, but Congratulations to, we've got Chris Hope and 400 AGL. And what's going to happen now? Let's pause the music.
Yes.
There you go.
I feel like I've won already.
John is happy now. Okay, so John, there is more.
It's like being locked into a room with a bunch of banjo players.
Yeah, well, that is scary, I admit. Okay, so I've got one button ready. I've got to remember how to do all this stuff because, where is it? I've got too many buttons. And I've got a complicated show today, so here we go. And I should have prepared this before. If I click over here and then click there and then type, you're going to like this. Okay, it's rendering. Get ready for it.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time to play Stump the Gang.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time to play.
One more time. It's Stump the Art.
Stump the Art.
Yeah.
Now, the way that we're going to give away this thing today is we've got two players. We've got 400 AGL and we've got Chris Hope. Now, Art, you're going to pick one of those two names. There we go. Let's turn that down a bit. You're going to pick one of those two names. One who will win the board if you win, and one who will win the board if you lose in the game of Stump the Art.
Oh, I'm going to pick a good one.
John, I've already got a list here.
Good.
I've prepared.
Good. Let's do it. Make it hard.
So who's the winner going to be? Is it 400 or Chris if you win, Art?
Let's go, Chris.
Chris Hope if you win. Okay.
400 if you lose.
Now, I've got to find the thing again because I just had it on my phone. There we go. Okay, some slang words. Art, your first question. What is, and I'm not going to give you three to pick from, so you've got to think about this a little bit. What is a loose unit?
Loose unit.
What do we got?
I think it's a
funny that you asked him that.
A lousy transition operation, I think.
It was a what?
I think it's a tranny who had a bad operation.
No.
No boom chish for that one. That one's failed. No. Someone that's a bit uncouth or a bit weird. Okay, so that's a minus point for you.
That's you, Art.
John, can you keep track? Can you keep track, John? So that's a minus one.
That's one for 400, right? That's a win for 400.
We can do it that way, yeah. 1 point for 400.
Yep,
okay, the second one. What is an ankle biter?
Good one.
Oh, that's a little kid.
There you go.
Okay, so that's one for Chris.
One for Chris. One all.
Okay, 1 all. There we go. I've got to have the little ding now, haven't I? The third one we've got here today. What does it mean when you're buggered?
You're
asking the wrong person, man, I can tell you.
What do you got?
When you're annoyed.
Yeah, I'll give you that one.
No, I beg to differ.
Pissed off.
Yeah, and
sorry.
Greg, wrong.
Yeah. Like I am right now.
That's wrong.
I was totally wrong there. I was reading something and my brain was disconnected for a moment. When
that is
you're
not buggered.
No. It means when you're exhausted.
Exhausted, exactly.
Sorry, I had a brain meltdown there.
That's 2 for 400.
2 for 400. Okay.
Is it best out of 3 because you got a winner?
We got a couple more here. Let's just have a bit of fun.
Oh, okay.
What does it mean when you're clucky?
Oh, that's good.
Clucky. When you're happy, I feel clucky.
400.
No. That
3-1.
one's going to 400 as well. So that is when you're feeling like you're ready to have a baby, or you're kind of all gooey about someone else's baby and you're feeling clucky.
Oh.
You want one more just for fun?
Go ahead.
Last
It's
one.
3-1.
It's 3-1. You're not going to win now, Chris, so sorry about that. When you are daggy, what does it mean?
Daggy.
You should have asked me that one.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, I think that's when your hair is, you're ready to get a haircut. You feel daggy. Your hair is too long.
There's a little bit of truth in that.
Well, yeah.
I don't often feel like I've got to get a haircut when I'm feeling daggy. But a dag comes from the word, a dag is the poop that hangs from a sheep's butt, gets tangled up with the fur
dingleberries
at the bottom of a sheep, at the exit end of a sheep. And so if you're called a dag in Australia, it means that you're dressed, very, very underdressed. And you're a dag. A dag would be a person who would carry the language also with that type of dress. So, you could have a half mark there, but it's still going to go to 400.
Yeah, 400 AGL. We have a winner.
Congratulations, Noah. You are the winner.
Okay. That was a lot of fun. I'm glad that we did it, and I'm sorry if it was a little bit convoluted and complicated to pick two people and all of that, but yeah.
No,
that was
fun.
cool. That was fun.
Excellent. Oh, wait a minute. Let's close this out with one more joke. I met a bloke from Australia who worked in IT. I asked him, do you come from the land down under?
Boom, boom. That's a good one. I like that. That's good.
It was a sad joke, but let's move on. Let's get back into the last couple of news stories, and the next one we've got over here is this one. So, meet a young man who built Nigeria's first locally made drone. He's age 17. Many have been inspired by him. At 17, he built a drone that could fly 15 minutes in the air with a maximum altitude of 2,000 feet. I guess they don't know about the 400 AGL.
Yeah.
And
might
for
not be a
some
rule.
reason, I've got to get that off the screen because it's not disappearing. There we go. Oh, now we've got the Sahara Desert.
That's good. That's
I know,
Nigeria.
but I was trying to clear the other thing. It's all right. My producer's complaining because I pressed a button. Anyway, this drone is a hybrid mix of existing drone components and locally fabricated material. Here we go. When I saw this story first, I was thinking to myself, look, are we going to have scams by drone now? But all jokes aside, I think it's wonderful. The fact that instead of some of the negative connotations, drones being used for good in a country where you wouldn't have expected it.
Absolutely. That's great.
So that's his first aircraft, and that looks really cool. We're going to zip through the remaining stories very, very quickly here. The next one is a propeller test. And let me go and press that button there. It says that it... Oh, actually, the titles are not working. They've frozen. But let's have a look at this. This is Flighter. It's a company that's published a video about the tests of their propeller and motor group for the Flighter Junior cargo drone. It's got a takeoff weight of up to 30 kilos and a payload weight of up to 10 kilos. As part of the first stage of this project, the team built a stand and they were testing their lifting, propeller and motor groups on it. As a result of the tests, and this was interesting, they selected the particular propeller and motor group, fair enough. But the results indicated that their propeller, if under the wing, as opposed to mounted above the wing, under wing consumed 13% more energy than the same equipment mounted above the wing.
Yep. Yep, that's right.
What's the aerodynamic reason for that one?
Oh, it's a pusher prop or a tractor prop. And a lot of it has to do with the airflow into the propeller to begin with. So if they had any forward flight, you can see the wings on that thing. The problem it usually comes down to the clean air. Now, you're going to see it here, of course. And this is a pusher prop, spinning that around. So the airflow that's going into the prop's being disturbed by the arm itself. And whereas when it goes into tractor mode, it's basically taking clean air. 13%, that'd be about right for a big difference between tractor and pusher. So interestingly, the DJI Matrice has pusher props underneath, which allows them to have aerials on top of the motor mount. So you've got your RTK aerials, you've got your connectivity aerials, and putting them out on the arms, there's more benefit in having those aerials out on the extended arms of the aircraft than it is having them in the electronics. However, you still have that loss of thrust to the propeller when you don't have a clean airflow going into it. You can fix that a little bit with having a ring around the prop and directing the air, but you get more problems too, and you start moving forward. Forward flight becomes the issue as well. So, that's interesting. I mean, they're doing the right test there. Not a wind tunnel. You're actually driving the thing around in the air on a stand. But, of course, the wind tunnel will tell you all of those results as well.
Yeah.
Cool.
Absolutely. So at this point, we're already over. I'm going to skip 2 stories and just go to the last one for the moment. Let's go to that one. This one is, we've got 2 videos for this one. The first one is... Let's get it up there. So this is an older video, first of all, of this particular area. This is in Lake Superior where some rocks fell off. This was about a year ago. Just interesting drone footage.
Yeah, this is up in Michigan.
There we go.
Yep.
Look at that, capturing it falling. Woo!
And look at the kayakers down below.
Yeah, that's timing. You wouldn't want to be in a kayak, but in the second video, which we'll switch to now.
Right there.
Is there? I can't see from here.
Someone watching it.
Right.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple of... Yeah, it's
human being below. Let's watch the second video now.
I can see that.
Oh, look it!
Now that's from the kayak.
Oh, guys, we're gonna get some. Holy shit! Back up, Brad! Brad, back up! Back up, Brad! Back up!
Let's get out! Ah!
Yeah.
They're in the car. They're in a boat.
This is obviously not in a kayak, but this second video is from only a few days ago. The other one, the drone video, was from a year ago, and because there's some new stuff that happened to show that, that's why it came in the news feed. But look, just something interesting to look at.
Yeah, look at that.
Oh my God. Oh, guys, we're gonna get some. Whoa! Back it up, back it up, back it up, back it up, back it up.
Okay, let's come back to the studio. That's all we've got.
They might have had a moment there, actually. Back it up.
They needed to shit their pants.
Yeah. Did you know, Greg, in Australia, the CSIRO has been doing a coastal erosion survey of the beaches from Manly up to the Central Coast for the last 40 years. They use manned aircraft and LiDAR to do it, but coastal erosion is a fantastic thing for drones to monitor, even just taking records of what's there, come back next week, what's not there. It's fantastic aerial images to do that, not just at falling, but watching over time. And I know I've seen the data looking at 40 years coastal erosion. The sea, take my words for it, will consume everything. It absolutely is relentless in it when it comes to coastal erosion.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, before we go, there was a story that we looked at last week, I think it was, with the guy with the two big fans on the side taking off. Was that last week or the week before? I can't remember.
I think it was the week before. It might have been last week because I don't recall it. I was out last week.
I don't know.
But the interesting thing about that story, John, was that he was taking off from the place where we were looking at those no drone signs before.
Yeah, right.
And we spoke about that last week, and, you know, everyone said, well, it's a manned aircraft, it's okay, he's not under the drone rules. But something that one of our viewers mentioned in Discord during the week was, yeah, but they got the footage from above of a drone shooting down on him, so there you go. There was a drone flying there.
Yeah, that's not necessarily illegal these days.
Again, the local council things is what I'm having a whinge about.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, okay.
Anyway, look, that's all we've got time for. John, any last thoughts or comments or words from you?
No, it's fun. Congratulations to 400. When they're going to do the install, take some pictures for us. I know you're a regular to the show, and you know we've had you on as a guest. How long has that been, Greg? I can't remember.
That's been a long time.
A long time ago. So
good.
Yeah, I'd love to see some photos, and perhaps 400. You know, will I think just have those skills as well, so we can get a good video up. I want to know what aircraft 400 is going to install it in, what they're thinking, Mavic or Phantom. That'd be interesting.
Yeah. Please do share that in the chat. And any last comments from you, Art?
Yeah, don't forget my show tomorrow night. Artco Drone Solutions.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, cool.
Absolutely.
4 p.m. Pacific, 5 Mountain, 6 Central, and 7 Eastern Time, and 7 a.m. Sunday in the Philippines.
And you can, of course, join. You can join Art for the absolute fun and insanity and the crazy stuff that he's going to have on his show.
Oh, okay. And I do a giveaway as well. I give away almond toffee at every show.
Toffee.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, that's all we've got time for. I did have something else I was about to say. Actually, I shouldn't forget this one. I should not forget this. This is the most important thing of the day. OzByDrone News is also supported by NoLimitDrones, the people who are giving us this board. Do you feel like your drone is weighed down by chains when you're flying? Take the chains off and fly without limitations. Go to nolimitdrones.com for more information. There is a link in the description. You don't have to be a geek and do hardware mods. You can also do software mods that can help you do things differently with your drone. But do remember, always fly responsibly, fly legal, and enjoy.
Absolutely.
Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye, everyone.
See you, everybody. Bye-bye for now.